Let me come back to cutting carbon emissions. Cutting carbon emissions 80% by 2020 is not a World War II type mobilization, but it's moving in that direction. It's going to require a very substantial effort, but it's entirely possible. We can do it by systematically raising the efficiency of energy use in the world. Consider, for example, if we shift to the most efficient lighting technologies now available, which in most cases is compact fluorescent bulbs. If we were to do that worldwide, we would reduce world electricity use 12%. And make money in the process, by the way. That would enable us to close 705 coal-fired power plants of the 2,400 plants in the world today. Coal now supplies about 40% of our electricity. I could go on with endless examples of raising efficiency. I mentioned this one because it's easily understood and most of us are familiar with it. Just changing light bulbs, we could close 705 coal-fired power plants. Renewable energy. We have not yet realized the potential of wind energy, of solar energy, of geothermal energy, of wave energy, of tidal power. Enormous potential here. Let me just give a few examples. In the Plan B 2020 energy economy, we see 40% of the world's electricity coming from wind. That'll require about 1.5 million wind turbines, 2 megawatts each, about 3 million megawatts of wind generating capacity. 1.5 million wind turbines is a lot. But we're talking about producing them over the next dozen years. We have about 100,000 wind turbines in operation today, so we're looking at a 15-fold increase. We produce 65 million cars each year. We could produce, in the US, the 1.5 million wind turbines for the world to reach this goal on idled automobile assembly plant lines. We have a lot of plants that have been closed. Skilled workforce is already in place. All we have to do is retool a bit, so instead of assembling automobiles, we're assembling wind turbines. Entirely doable. Let me cite an example or two. Texas. For the last century, Texas has been the leading producer of oil in the United States. It is now the leading producer of wind-generated electricity. Rick Perry, Republican governor of Texas, has worked with the state legislature to put together a package of wind farm development plans, one huge cluster in West Texas, the other in the Texas Panhandle, and a couple of companies to build transmission lines. So it's 8 or 10 wind development companies and a couple of companies to build the lines to connect those wind farms with Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Galveston, and so forth. They're planning to develop 23,000 megawatts of wind generating capacity. Think 23 coal-fired power plants. 23,000 megawatts is enough to satisfy the residential needs of 12 million of the 22 million people who live in Texas. This is big-time thinking. It reminds me, and it goes beyond the traditional sort of marginal incremental thinking in the renewable energy field that we've seen for a number of years now. Elizabeth Colbert, writer for The New Yorker, published a profile of Amory Lovins. Amory Lovins is sort of the world's energy efficiency guru. And she asked Amory a question about thinking outside the box. Amory said, there is no box. There is no box. And that's where we need to be. We need to be totally outside the box and thinking in ways we haven't before.